Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Roots Refuge Farm, where today it's drizzly and rainy, meaning we're gonna have some dirty eggs in here. But since it's drizzly and raining, the guys are burning the big pile over there we had of like scraps and some trash and stuff like that, boxes mainly. Things that were printed that we couldn't use in the garden. It's been piled up for a while, but it's been really dry. And the other day we burned this garden plot. It had rained like a couple days before, but it's been really dry lately. And we thought it would be fine after that rain. And it went up fast and it was contained, but we've waited further to burn that pile. And today that's getting done. So it smells really fallish out here with all the smoke. All the geese are gonna be loud. All right, high tunnel time. Check this out. Can y'all believe how fast this stuff has grown? So my broccoli, which this is sprouting broccoli, has already started to have sprouts, meaning that I can just pop these off. I'm not gonna do it this instant. I'll probably come out here closer to dinner time and pull out any of these areas where it's sprouting, break them off, and I will roast those in the oven with just a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, 400-degree oven, till they get kind of softer and charred around the edges. And with sprouting broccoli, it's not like heading broccoli where you get one head and then maybe a few side shoots. You just keep plucking these sprouts off and you'll get quite a lot off of it. This really shot up. Honestly, the whole tunnel has been really fast growing and I haven't even taken the shade cloth off yet. I waited simply because we've been having such a, up and down weather pattern that I didn't want to risk it getting way too hot in here and forcing things to bloom early, or forcing all of these brassicas, namely like cabbages and heading broccolis and different things that I want them to develop properly rather than going to seed too fast. This must be a sprouting broccoli over here on the side. I will go ahead and pluck this one off because the flowers are starting to open. So a head of broccoli is just a cluster of unopened flower heads. So sprouting broccoli is the same, and you can still eat it whenever it starts having flowers. The taste changes. You typically want to harvest it when they're still closed buds. If you leave them, they'll all open into flowers and then eventually start producing seeds. So I feel like I've got these Napa cabbages. They're starting to head a little bit. I'll be able to start pulling from these soon. I have a whole bunch more back on that side. Depending on what you want to do when it comes to brassicas like this, it's just a choice you have to make between the volume that you want to get. So like I can pull this small Napa cabbage, or I can wait even a few more weeks and it's going to get a lot bigger. Y'all hear the guineas? We only have 5. That's crazy. They're so loud. The first time I got guineas, this little broccoli sprout in my pocket. When we first got guineas, I got a bunch of eggs at this like sale barn type market in Arkansas, and I put it in the incubator. I want to say it was like 40 eggs or something. It was a whole lot. And I hatched them, and guineas they can be somewhat tricky to hatch. I mean, they just don't go as easy as chickens, in my experience at least. And then once they're hatched, they're just a little more frail. They're just not as domesticated as chickens, and therefore, I guess they just don't do quite as well in confinement, would be my assumption. I've talked to a lot of people who have had issues with brooding them, and from what I've heard, they do best with some chickens. Like they brood best with some chickens. But this particular time in Arkansas, I ended up with 25 keats, and then by the time they were grown, I think I got like 19 to maturity or something like that out of 40 eggs, which is relatively okay numbers. But anyway, 19 guineas is insane. Like, that was nuts. I ended up selling them because they were so loud. It was like this massive, loud mob of birds that was going around our 4-acre farm, significantly smaller space. It was nuts. That's 5, and they're that loud. So regarding cabbage and the volume thing, I really like to plant enough that I can start harvesting some when they're small and let others get big. And then that way I can cook the smaller ones like fresh for dinner and then still have enough volume to make like kimchi, sauerkraut, and all of that stuff. So I've got these up here, and some of those will probably get harvested small. And then back here in this corner are the Napa cabbages that will probably eventually let some of these get really large to do some ferments. Feeling pretty pleased with this, and I'm happy to have it on this rainy day. So I've been trying to make the most out of my freeze dryer. We're gonna head over to the other tunnel. By just constantly knowing what I'm gonna put in it next so I can keep it running. And I was coming out here, it's got something in it right now, but I knew I had some cilantro growing in the garden and in these tunnels, and I wanted to come and take a look at it. This is cilantro. I'm planning on, I think I'm just gonna go through, yeah, I've got another plant right here. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. I think my next run in the freeze dryer is gonna be cilantro, because that's something that's the only ingredient that I cannot grow during the summer to make salsa. Otherwise our salsa would be entirely off the farm, and I think that if I freeze dried the cilantro I could put in my salsa and then achieve that full farm salsa. In the past I've had onions, garlic, peppers, tomatoes, all of that has been from the farm, but cilantro goes straight to seed when it's warm. I've been consistently watching my Brussels sprouts to see if they're gonna make it to the Thanksgiving table. Unfortunately, they're still very, very small, so I think not. This week is Thanksgiving here in the States, and it's a very busy week for me just because, I mean, I cook a ton of food from scratch, and then I have kids. So I mean, like, if you have a bunch of kids and you're cooking Thanksgiving from scratch and hosting a lot of people, it's a busy week. But we've been doing this like no grocery store challenge for the last 2 months, and this week I went, that one of the exceptions that I had set out for myself in the beginning was I was gonna make the exception to do grocery shopping for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, simply because I want to be able to do our traditional dishes, though I am pushing myself to do as much of it as possible from scratch. And so I'm gonna have to put Brussels sprouts on the list because they're not gonna make it out of the garden, it would appear. Alright, well, I was gonna grab the eggs, but it appears that Maya already did it. And I wanted to check on the cilantro because I don't think I'm gonna have like multiple trays worth. I have one more to check, but we're gonna head back to the house because it started drizzling a lot harder when I got out here. There's just not that much I can do with the camera outside right now. We're steadily easing into the very brownish, grayish winter time. Here it never gets fully gray because we live in the middle of pine agriculture, or I guess forestry, I should say. And so there's pine trees everywhere, so they always stay green. That actually really helps me because whenever everything turns gray, it's just like so sad. I've always said that a farm in the muddy off season will really test your love of the thing. I don't know though, I still find a lot of beauty in it, don't you? Looks like my peas, some of them recovered from the frost, some of them did not really come back. We'll see what the weather does. I'm not holding my breath on those. Here's some more cilantro. This is stuff that just volunteered. It's a pretty good little bunch. I bet if I cut it back, I'll end up getting quite a bit more too. The one out in the high tunnel is a lot bigger, but that's not surprising. Oh, look at this. The lemongrass is trying to grow again. It doesn't know that it's just gonna get frozen. This makes me happy. This was a complete and total unintentional thing. These were leftover plants that, in potting up little seedlings and separating seedlings in the spring, these few seedlings just got tossed over. This was the soil we were using to fill pots. And these got tossed in, took hold, and grew, and now I have my little wintertime pepper garden. Oh, hey, avocado. Oh, you want the lap, don't you? That chair right there is Avocado's chair. If ever I can't find her out in the garden, I'll come in here, and that's where she is. Isn't that right, garden kitty? She's like, look, I'll show you. Alright, back in the house. I'm sitting in my living room. So I'm going to show you guys what I've been doing this week. In the midst of a busy week and juggling, like, you know, preparation for Thanksgiving and pre-cooking things. We had Friendsgiving my kids had, like Jackson had an allergist, and, you know, like juggling. It's been a juggling week. Really, the last 2 weeks has involved a lot of juggling. But in between, I've been crocheting this lovely shawl, which, let me take my hook out so I can wrap it around and show you. It's obviously, it's going to get a lot bigger, but isn't this really pretty? I got this yarn at Hobby Lobby, and it's 100% wool yarn. I went in there to get something for Christmas. I want to make this long enough that it can wrap around, and then you can fasten it in the back and make it sort of like a shrug thing. And this one has quite a few mistakes in it because I've never crocheted a shawl before. I went in Hobby Lobby, they had their yarn on sale. Do I have lots of yarn in my house? Yes, I do. Did I have a yarn that I could probably have used for this? Yes, I do. It turns out, like seeds and books, yarn is one of those things. It's just a little addictive whenever you start. And jars, that's another thing. And cast iron, you know. I have quite a few of those things at this point. Whenever I see people posting their like minimalist houses, I'm like, where's your stuff? Like, so much stuff. Anyway, I saw this yarn. I thought it was really pretty. I thought it would be really pretty for this purpose. And I went online, and I don't know how to explain this. It's just how my brain works. I'm sure there are people out here like this. I don't know if this has, sometimes as an adult that like got diagnosed with ADD as an adult, like I'll hear people talk about things and they'll say it's an ADD thing. And of course, it's kind of a trending thing. Of course, there's lots of people talking about it right now. And so sometimes I'm like, is that really an ADD thing? Or I don't know, because it's things I've always done. So could it be? Maybe. I have a hard time sometimes learning a new skill until it clicks. So the way it works for me, like I can watch 500 videos. Well, it doesn't take that many, but like I can watch 25 different videos of shawls, and I'll start, and then I'll get overwhelmed or I'll misunderstand something. So I'll start over completely because I have a really hard time backtracking to the point that I mess up. I have to start from the beginning again. And I'll start, and then I'll start and I'll mess up and start over and mess up and start over until I get frustrated and I quit. I have a really hard time learning new skills sometimes because I have a hard time being bad at things without becoming really overwhelmed by that. So I ended up finding this one tutorial which I was actually able to understand, and I actually just sat down and watched the whole video. Without trying to crochet along with it, I just watched it. So I kind of got what the pattern was supposed to look like. And then I went back and crocheted along with it. And at some point it just clicked. And I have this lovely shawl to show for it. So it worked out well. I'll put a link to the video. Now, I would love for that to convey and for me to be able to now do other patterns. And I think I might be able to, but I may crochet this pattern again. There are quite a few mistakes in it, like I don't know, you can kind of see here, it sort of like dips down here and is uneven because I missed a stitch or something, but it's fine. This one's for me. I think of like there's tomato season, there's like the spring garden, there's the winter garden. I think of my whole life in seasons, and I think that like from November to January and really like middle of February when I can start seeds again is crochet season. And that's when I do a lot of things like this. I typically will put my headphones in and listen to an audiobook, or like while I'm cooking this week, I just have this sitting out, and in between tasks when I have to sit and wait for something to like heat up or start boiling or the timer to go off, I'll sit down and crochet for a little while, which, you know, crocheting is actually really good for you if you have like nervous system regulation issues at all. Like it essentially takes your body out of fight or flight, and it causes your body to just calm down. Doing something that is meditative like this and repetitive with your hands, as long as you're not losing your cool because you're messing up trying to follow along with a tutorial, that's probably not a peaceful moment. I will tell you, this is historically in what this is, I think, my 6th season of this time of year to be a content creator and having this channel. And I have really always struggled with this time of year because I feel like there's just not that much to show. But anytime that I'll just get myself to turn the camera on, even though I feel like, oh, I have nothing of value to show, and I just turn the camera on and chat and hang out, and then I read the comments, I'm always glad that I did it. I'm always glad to be able to make the connection with you guys. I have been making more content this week on my new channel, The Farmer's Table. So I started a second channel if you missed the announcement, where I'm showing cooking tutorials, and it's still very much chatty and like hanging out, but definitely step-by-step instructions. And I'm including printable PDF recipes with those videos, so you guys can print them out and then have them and make them your own. And as I've been prepping like Thanksgiving stuff and Friendsgiving stuff, I've made a few videos for over there. I've got another one that I'm actually going to get ready to make. And that's nice. That's actually helped a lot with the creative slump of this time of year and feeling a little bit like I don't really have anything. But I still want to be able to turn on and make hangout vlogs. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to check in with y'all. Figured I'd take my camera out while I ran out there. And I wanted to show you my shawl because, to be honest, I'm pretty proud of it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today and all the days that you do. I bless you. Until next time.